The threat of financial contagion after the fall of the Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank seems to be becoming real, and perhaps it is gradually even spreading to Europe. The situation seems grim and ominous in one of Europe's mightiest banks. This time, one of the largest global investment banks of the world, Credit Suisse, seems to be on the verge of collapse. Or if not on the verge of collapse, its situation certainly seems to be in the red for the moment. The bank has said that it is taking a decisive action to strengthen its liquidity by borrowing up to $54 billion from the Swiss central bank after a slump in its shares intensified fears about a broader bank deposit crisis. Robert Kiyosaki, an investor, author, and Wall Street analyst who predicted the collapse of Lehman Brothers in 2008, believes that Credit Suisse is on the verge of certain collapse. Actually, the underlying problem with Credit Suisse is not something completely new. Today, we take a look at what exactly is going on with this investment bank and what had happened during last few years that had severely dented its credibility. But before that, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Oneindia. Credit Suisse is the second largest bank of Switzerland and one of the most renowned investment banks globally. Over fears of contagion from the collapse of two US banks and its annual report citing material weaknesses in internal controls, Credit Suisse market value took a heavy blow this week. Its shares nosedived to historic lows of 30% yesterday after its main shareholder said it would not invest any more money in it. The chairman of the Saudi National Bank, who is Credit Suisse' biggest shareholder, has very clearly said that they would not increase their stake in Credit Suisse. Their stake in Credit Suisse is 9.8% currently, and if they increase it to 10% or above that, new statutory and regulatory regimes would kick in. In fact, Saudi National Bank Chairman Amar Al-Khudairi used the words "absolutely not" in response to a question about whether the bank was open to further injections if there was another call for additional liquidity. The crash has also spilled over into other European banking shares, with French and German banks falling between 8% and 12%. Italian and UK banks have also slumped due to this. The reason investors are worried and talks of global recession is gaining ground is because of the free fall of its share prices and astronomical climb in its CDS, that is, credit default swap. The continuous dip in its share prices have reminded everyone about the collapse of Lehman Brothers, the US bank that started the domino effect of global meltdown in 2008. This has sent investors in tizzy and they are worried about the collapse of Credit Suisse. Customers withdrew $133 billion from the bank last year, mostly in the fourth quarter, and the bank had reported an annual net loss of $7.9 billion, its biggest since the global financial crisis in 2008. Last year too, its CDS costs had hit the highest level since 2008. But how did this globally renowned bank reach to a situation where it is now being seen as perhaps the most important signs of an impending global recession? The answers are multifold and interlinked. During recent years, a string of losses, high-profile risk management failures, and changes of top leadership have led to this situation. Credit Suisse had to raise capital, halt share buybacks, cut its dividend, and revamp management after losing more than $5 billion from the Archegos collapse in March 2021. The situation aggravated when it also had to suspend client funds linked to failed financier Greensill. Few independent reports had also flagged the crisis with this bank. Deutsche Bank had conducted an assessment and raised a question mark over the financial health and strength of this bank. Its assessments claimed that Credit Suisse faced a capital gap of at least $4.1 billion in order to restructure itself and to support its initiatives. Another report claimed that bank had lost money for 3 straight quarters last year. In fact, in July last year, the bank had reported a loss as huge as $1.65 billion. The bank has also been plagued with financial impropriety issues on part of its employees. One of its employees was convicted in 2018 for forging signatures of its wealthy clients over a period of 8 long years. The bank has also been accused of servicing human rights abusers and businessmen who have been placed under sanctions. It also recently pleaded guilty to defrauding investors of over $850 million to Mozambique that was meant to pay for a tuna fishing fleet and is paying the US and British regulators $475 million under a deal announced in October. The bank had also been accused of hiring private detectives to spy on its former top-ranking employees. That spying scandal had forced the then CEO Tidjane Thiam to quit in 2020, and Switzerland's financial regulator had said Credit Suisse had misled them about the scale of its surveillance. All of these have added to the crisis that has been going on for years, unabated and unchecked. The problem is that Credit Suisse is one of the biggest financial institutions in the world and has been categorized as a global systemically important bank, along with just 30 others, including JP Morgan, Bank of America and the Bank of China. It is not a local bank like the SVB or the Signature Bank. So if there is a problem here, it will certainly have a domino effect elsewhere and the crisis will most likely aggravate. Although a lifeline has been thrown to it, it is not possible to foretell about the impact at this moment. This was all you needed to know about the crisis Credit Suisse is embroiled in. We hope you would like this new video. Thank you so much for watching.